It's time for the Larry H. Miller Utah Summer Games at Southern Utah University in Cedar City. Register today to participate in the 40th anniversary season of a Utah sports tradition at utahsummergames.org. Participate in over 50 sports around the state. Then plan to join the opening ceremonies Friday, June 5th, presented by State Bank of Southern Utah. Register today to participate in the 40th anniversary season of the Larry H. Miller Utah Summer Games.
Do you love the Tabernacle Choir? This year, the choir's music is everywhere you are. Listen to your favorite choir songs and music and the spoken word anytime you want on Alexa by simply enabling the skill.
Alexa, play music in the spoken word.
Now playing music in the spoken word.
You can also download the Tabernacle Choir app, subscribe to the choir on YouTube, listen on Spotify, and have access to all their wonderful music. Happy listening.
Your home for the best coverage of the Jazz, Utes, and Cougars is right here on The Zone. This is JJ and Alex on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Okay, everybody, welcome back. It's JJ and Alex, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Thanks for hanging out with us today. It is a Monday, and it was a big sports weekend. Here in the state of Utah, the NBA season couldn't have come to an end fast enough, but we did get the extra bonus of Doug Christie and the Sacramento Kings being absolutely even bad at tanking. And so the Jazz and the Kings are going to have the coin flip, which is one of my favorite things, that you decide grown men's fates in a billion-dollar industry with the coin flip. Joining us on the program right now, he's Jake Scott. That's where we're going to kick things off right here with the cut. Let's do it.
It's time for the biggest story of the day. This is what made the cut with JJ and Alex on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Jake Scott, pre-half and post host, of course, all season long for your Utah Jazz on the radio network of the Jazz. And he also hosts Jake and Ben every day with Ben Anderson. Jake, this was a long season, but you've always kept back. I've always felt like every time I've dipped in with you listening on my way home, you've at least had people have practiced some perspective, and I appreciated that.
I appreciate that. I truly take that as a compliment. You know, people ask me through the rebuild. I think I've said this on your show before, but it's funny. They talk to me like I'm, deathly ill or something like that. Are you okay? And it's like, no, I'm fine. In fact, I honestly tell people I don't really care that much about wins and losses day to day. Whatever. What I'm looking for is interesting, and hopefully doing post games and admittedly some nights it's more difficult than others, but hopefully we grab onto something something interesting and are able to explore it. And it's not unlike of course I'm sure JJ producing a TV newscast. I mean, you still got to grab something interesting from the game. You still have to grab something interesting from post game, and that's ultimately what I'm rooting for. But it's been taken to the extreme, and I suppose I am looking forward to next season.
Well, this season is over, and I think everybody's excited that the rebuild is over. But I think that there were some things that happened this year that were important. As you look back on this season, what impact do you think this season will have on the future of the franchise?
Huge. I mean, it's huge for a couple of reasons. I mean, the trigger. Because there's two most important stories and they're connected, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. The trigger to make the Jaren Jackson Jr. trade was Keontae George becoming a guy. If that had not happened, the Jazz would have kept their, not would have, I mean, what do I know, but could have, I should say, kept their powder dry. Don't make the move for Jaren Jackson Jr. and, continue to rebuild until you find enough guys that you feel like you can be competitive. I think, saying, Keontae is going to go ahead and make the next step. He's going to obviously be good enough to have a role in the future and a big role potentially. He saw that potential and said, okay, let's make a move. And it also allowed them to keep Lowry. How long could they kick the Lowry marketing can down the road? So, Keontae George becoming really a fine player on and off the floor. By the way, they just glow about him over there about what a fine job he's done developing himself as a person, and honestly, kudos to him for that. But I believe that happening triggered the Jaren Jackson Jr. trade in some respects, and also allowed them to fit Lowry into the window, whatever that is. So, I would say those are the biggest things for sure.
Well, let's talk about a window, because the other thing that is interesting to me is the Walker Kessler piece of this, that I tend to sort of just go, oh, yeah, look, the starting lineup is going to be these guys. And then you throw Walker's name in there, but some work has to be done, of course, to be able to make that happen. And when they do make it happen, how long can you maintain a payroll like this for this team? And how long could a window be open potentially?
Well, the answer is it could be real short, which is funny with the NBA and how they've decided to structure things. If you don't make the right decisions, like the Donovan and Rudy window, whatever that was, honestly wasn't open that long,
right?
Because of these cap reason issues, and you have to make the right decisions. But if we're looking in the short term, honestly, Walker's going to be back. Now, do they figure out a deal? Do they make him go get his own deal and then just match it? They're not going to let the asset walk out the front door. But the challenge is maintaining a healthy relationship with the player while playing hardball. You send mixed messages, and then that creates relationship difficulty later on. I mean, of course, we remember Gordon Hayward and that situation. But if memory serves, I think that was the beginning of the end with Kawhi in San Antonio. I think the Spurs did a similar thing with Kawhi. But I could be wrong about that. If that's fake news, I apologize. But it does do damage to relationships, and whether that's worth it or not. But I would guess Walker is going to command. I hate guessing numbers because, man, sometimes you just don't know, and I don't know what a market is like for a center, and then who has money and all that. But I would guess Walker is not going to be cheap, but I would also guess he doesn't get everything he wants, either with the Jazz or someone else. So it's delicate. But long story short, he's going to be on the team next year because they'll just match whatever. I mean, he's too valuable not to do that for. But then, you look and say, all right, do we have to move on from him eventually, which is what happened with DeAndre Ayton in Phoenix. DeAndre Ayton went to restricted free agency, got a ridiculous deal. Hell, guys, remember who signed him? Was it Detroit? Detroit signed him to a ridiculous free agent deal that the Suns had to match, and then lo and behold, they move on from DeAndre like a year later. I mean, maybe there's a scenario where that happens. So, but you just can't let a guy that could walk for nothing. So they won't do that. But then they've got to make decisions. And how tolerant is Ryan Smith of paying luxury tax and all that sort of stuff? It all comes into play once you start making a decision to win. But if you're going to start looking currently, you've got to have your two max guys, and that's Lowry and Jaren Jackson Jr., and then maybe you plug in. I don't know if Key gets a max rookie extension. I kind of doubt it, but he did have a great year. But he's eligible for an extension, so what does that look like? Do they push that out another year and make Key go into restricted free agency? There's a whole lot of ifs, but it's better than having nothing and praying for draft picks. So it's up to that brain trust over there to make the right decisions, because once you get capped out, it gets tough, to your point.
Another thing that this franchise worked really hard to do was to give them the best chance to keep that draft pick. And unless they lose this coin toss and a 0.7% chance comes to fruition, they are going to be successful and keep it. So they're going to add a lottery piece to this roster that's already been built. As you look at the players that are available, regardless of where the Jazz land, what player that's in that top 8 do you think would be the best fit for them?
Oh, I mean, best player available. AJ, Darren Peterson. I mean, you can take your pick. You can look down the line. I think the draft experts, which I am not one, are saying this is top 10, top 8. I think are kind of the numbers that I'm hearing. But maybe check out Kristen Peek's fine work. She does a good job with draft stuff. But I think you can expect an impact player. I think it's a valuable pick. Even if they wanted to trade it, they probably could get a lot for it, just based on the reputation of this draft alone. But I think it is important that if they could get a guy and plug him in somewhere where he could play a role, then you have a talented player on a rookie deal, right? But I've been kind of sticking to this when it comes to the Jazz in the draft. They have the real luxury that they don't have a real need. I mean, they can take the best player available, and whether it's pushing a young guy or filling a role immediately off the bench, big. Given Walker's contract situation, would you say no to a big? I don't think I'd have to memory. So I don't think there's a big quite that high in the projection. So maybe that's not a thing. But they wouldn't say no to that, right? I mean, to take a point guard, have some negotiation leverage with Keontae. I don't think they say no to that.
Yeah, there's a lot of good point guards in this draft. It'd be tough not to take one.
Yeah. No, but listen, you can never have too many bouncy, long wings, Like the Jazz are in a position in the draft where they can take whoever they truly think is the best because they don't have that, we kind of need a big thing or any of that. They can evaluate and make a straight pick.
Jake Scott joining us. Of course, he hosts Jake and Ben every day, 10 to noon right here on the KSL Sports Zone with Ben Anderson. And he and Ben are our top dog insiders for the Utah Jazz, and we lean on these guys a lot. And they went through quite a bit the last 4 seasons. Jazz fans have been through it for the last 4 seasons. What is the model now? Is it just something that people look at and go, oh, San Antonio's doing it right? You just build in the draft to get a little bit lucky, but you can skip steps, it feels like, in this new era.
I think sometimes I hate the model discussion because it's impossible to replicate what another team does, right? How do you replicate what Golden State does? It's like, well, you find the best shooters on the planet, the 2 best guys at the exact same time. It's in Oklahoma City. How did Paul George make a crazy loyalty? What am I looking for? I mean, a bout with loyalty, and decided to re-sign with Oklahoma City. Who could have seen that coming? And only to be traded a year later. It's wild to pick out the model thing. But can I tell you? I think if you want to throw the skipping steps thing out there, that's the Jaren Jackson Jr. trade. I mean, that takes you from a young team to a youngish team with a guy who's made multiple playoff, I don't know if you want to call them runs, but he's certainly been there. Defensive Player of the Year, All-Star, all those things. Like the dude is not new. He's proven. He's really good. He's huge. I think all of a sudden the Jazz are huge, which I think is so compelling because you guys, we have been talking about undersized teams since the dawn of time. I mean, Bojan Bogdanovic, go out and play against Giannis. Good luck out there, And all of a sudden, the Jazz are the biggest team in the league. Ace Bailey is your 4th biggest guy on the floor, and even positional size, Keontae George at 6'4" is not bad. And so all of a sudden, this Jazz lineup is giant. I love that. At a time when the league is zigging, where they're going one way, the next thing is going to be a zag, right? And the risk with a zag is sometimes you miss, but you're huge, you're athletic. Lowry can shoot the crap out of the ball. Jaren Jackson shoots it very serviceably enough, certainly enough that you have to pay attention to him. I mean, I think unique is a winner in the NBA sometimes. You find out what's next, especially if you don't have Shea. Jaren Jackson and Lowry are great, but they're probably not as good as Shea. So if you don't have that, I hate if you don't have the league's best player, you can't win. Well, figure it out. And so I kind of like the uniqueness going forward of having the Jazz having a huge team.
And Ace Bailey is one of those guys, and we all saw the flashes that he showed this year, and there was so much to get excited about. But obviously, this is a team that's going to be trying to win and get to the playoffs next year. Is Ace Bailey, have you seen enough from him to believe that by next season he will be a starter on a playoff team?
Oh, man. Well, starter in a sense, like, let's keep in mind that Ronnie Brewer started at the 2 guard.
Fair enough.
On plenty of playoff teams. So,
yeah, and it was 4-on-5 most of the time in the playoffs, too, which you don't want to be in.
So
that was a weakness.
Yeah, that was. But he could guard. Ronnie could guard. He
of course.
The dunk spot,
yeah.
For a 2 guard. So let's keep that in mind. The thing about Ace, and I think I'll steal from Locke a little bit too, because he said this a couple times, and I think he took it on a conversation with a coach, but that Ace, like a few times a night, does something that only like a handful, like 10 or 12 people on the planet can do. You know, these pull-ups with this bouncy jumper and, you know, some stuff that's just like, whoa, there's nobody on the planet that can stop that. And he's got athleticism, he's got size, skill. I love his demeanor. It's always his head's always up. You know, he's got a smile on his face too, which I like. But his head's always up. I think he battled this year, which I think is a good sign. You know, the sickness, and then all of a sudden he's out of the rotation. Bided his time. He didn't come in with a lot of entitlement. I think the signs are there for, you know, like, hey, the Jazz have a role to fill. This guy's going to grow in and fill it. But back to our draft conversation. You know, you pick a wing, and all of a sudden Ace has somebody pushing him, and Ace isn't the hot new toy in town, you know, and there's a new rookie Biden for, you know, or lottery pick Biden for star status, and, you know, that rising tide lifts all boats, as they say. So, you know, that could be good for him too. He has to get better, no doubt about it, but, like, he's got little stuff that you just go, okay, well, a guy your size doing that's going to be very difficult to game plan for.
The final, I think, player availability of the year, we caught Chandler Holt walking through, and I said, "Hey, how'd that availability go? Who did they roll out?" He goes, "Oh, it was Nurk and Kevin Love." And then everybody's asking, "Are you guys coming back? Or do you guys want to come back?" And then today at the end of the year press conference, and Will Hardy was asked about it. What's the benefit of getting guys like Nurk and Kevin Love back, who have both expressed interest in signing back up to be with this team?
Oh, yeah, I'm sure they both did.
I know. It's like, yeah, I'd love to come back. I'll sign on that line for a certain amount, and I'll just keep it going, man.
Yeah. No, listen, I think Nurk still has some gas left in the tank. I'm not so sure about Kevin Love. I mean, do we want to talk about the value of having veteran presence in the locker room? I'll listen to that. But the Jazz are all of a sudden pretty short on roster spots. You know, certainly of rotational players. They could use a backup big, but, you know, if you look at the markets for big these days, you could find a decent backup big for, you know, I don't know, the veteran minimum, because they're only going to come in and play 10 to 15 minutes. And I think we found out that Phil Opowski can play that big position at least a little bit of the time if you want to wrong foot the opponent. So I don't know if I'll tell you this: if Nurk can get a 2-year contract somewhere else, he's not coming back to Utah, because I don't think they'd give him a 2-year deal. Maybe like a 1-year vet minimum kind of thing. I could see that. Kevin Love, I'm not so sure where he goes from here, but I don't think even the tanking Jazz really expected to play him this year. I don't know. Did you guys get a different vibe than that?
Exactly. Yeah, agree.
I think they brought him in to kind of, you know, be a parent. I don't think they were expecting
I was shocked how much he played, too. Yeah, I was.
Yeah. Right.
He was shocked how much he played, too. I think that was part of the deal, too.
Yeah, so I don't know. I wouldn't guess either one of them is back. Maybe Nurk with a league minimum, because it appeared to me anyway that he enjoyed his time here. I mean, he said nice things on Twitter today.
And they certainly were great all year long and said some great things about Utah and their time here, which is also always good to hear.
Real quick, can we just say that let Nurk cook and that triple-double stuff, that wasn't real. That's not his role. That's not ever going to be his role.
Yeah, even if he's back next year, let's not let Nurk cook next year.
Yeah,
agree.
Right. So
agree.
Sorry, I had to get that out.
On the other end of that spectrum is all these young players on the roster. Suddenly, you're trying to make a playoff, and all this youth is not an asset at that point. What is the Jazz going to do with all these young players? Because there's not enough room for them. There's not enough minutes for them. You're not going to give Cody Williams 30 minutes to go out and score 30 points like you did this year. What do they do with all these players in the offseason? Because you just mentioned it. They're in a number crunch now. There's not going to be enough minutes and enough rotation spots for all these guys.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. And what a great motivation for them, right? And we can all look at them and look at their shortcomings and say, okay, well, this is, what's going to limit you, and this is what, Bryce needs to guard. Cody needs to learn some ball handling, some offensive skill. Isaiah Collier still needs to really improve that shot. Kyle Filipowski still kind of has to decide what position he's most effective at defensively. A liability. So like a lot of NBA role players, we're talking about players with flaws, but John Conchar has come in and had this attitude of, I just want to be a role player. I'm just going to do all of the things, and that might be the type of guy that boils that kind of goes to the top is how do you go in and compliment your teammates, but like with Bryce, you can look at previous editions of the Jazz where they needed a Shandon Anderson or even more recently like a Jordan Clarkson coming in off the bench and be a guy who can have instant scoring. Can Isaiah Collier bully the backup point guard for 17 minutes a game? He can probably do that. We can talk about if Cody Williams can improve mildly offensively and up his defensive bite, which is already pretty good. Who doesn't need that? Another, hey, go take another shift on the other team's best player. You can see where these players can carve out roles, but there's a lot of other good NBA role players too, and so there's that delicate balance. And I think was it you earlier, Jeremiah, bringing up they may have more value to other teams.
Yeah, absolutely. I did talk about that. Yep.
Yeah. So if another team sees something they like in Bryce and
valuable
Bryce
trade pieces.
Yeah. And remember when the Jazz signed John Amici because he had a good game for Orlando against the Jazz?
He wasn't the only guy the Jazz signed because they.
Yeah.
Larry loved those guys.
Yeah, he did. Other teams do too, so you never know.
Right.
Bryce cooked a few teams this year.
Yep.
Maybe Jerry Reinsdorf in Chicago was like, oh, hey, this fuck kid has something.
There'd be room on that roster for sure.
But it might have been the only. It might have been the only time in his career he's going to have multiple 40-point games. I'd go to Vegas with that one and say this might be the final year of multiple 40-point games for him in his NBA career. But I know, yeah, who knows? I know maybe he'll do the same thing somewhere else. Jake Scott, he hosts with Ben Anderson every day, and they do a phenomenal job covering this Jazz team. It's been a good year. It's been a long year, I know, for you guys, but it's always fun to dip in with you and Coach when you're breaking it down because you do bring that perspective, and so it's much appreciated. Jake Scott, thanks, man.
Hey, no, thank you guys. Seriously, you guys are the best, and it's always a pleasure.
There you go. Jake Scott. He does that. I think he goes around. I mean, he's same thing that you and I do. It's just like you get done with work and you're immediately back in dad mode.
Yeah. You gotta flip that switch.
Got to do it all immediately. So respect. All right, we'll come back. We've got more right around the corner. Stay with us. 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone.
Make game day yours. Tickets, food and drinks, stats, and streaming. Everything you need is in the Utah Mammoth app. Download today and make game night easy. Download on both Android and iPhone. Tusk Top.
Derek Overstreet, founder of the New Millennium Group. We're a financial planning firm. We have advisors standing by right now to take your call. 888-999-6370. The reason you're going to want to call is we're going to help you retire 3 to 5 years before you thought possible. The way we do this is by putting together a step-by-step plan. So if you're one of those people listening and you'd like a plan in writing, give us a call at 888-999-6370. That's 888-999-6370 or go to utahsfinancialplanner.com.
Accessing.
When TV and radio collide.
Love it.
This is what you get. You're listening to JJ and Alex.
Don't touch that dial.
On 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
You can make fun of this song, but it still goes.
Who's going to make fun of it?
Because Return of the Mac is like a very 90s. This song is a 90s jam.
The 90s takes me back to happy place.
I know. This guy's born in the 90s. Napolis. Good pull, man.
But you still appreciate this. It's a banger. Right?
It hits. It slaps. I'm no unk when I'm listening to this.
You just ruined the song. I'm no unk.
Don't call me unk.
I think you are an unk.
You know what? My goal in life is for my kid not to be one of those guys on Instagram that has the fake teeth and was like, you know what I'm saying, dog? It was like, have you seen those guys that like put the fake teeth in and they're like, I don't even know who these cats are. But my feed, I don't know if my son has like followed him or something, and then like he talks to me about him, and then it's these guys that basically have full face tattoos, full grills, might be 20 years old, and they all look the same, and they talk like they're the next gangstas, and it's usually just the Michael from down the street.
Spoiled kids.
I'm just like, as long as my kids don't do that, I think I'll be okay.
You talking about the Island Boys?
Those guys, the Island Boys are different. I think those guys are different. But like kind of the same look where they do that. These guys have like tattoos over their eyebrows and stuff. What job are you getting?
I think one of the things that Napolis enjoys the most about this job is hearing the ridiculous
making
things
fun of
we
our
say
old,
that
making
make
fun
us
of our
sound
old butts. Yeah. That's fine. I think he does. He's able to have a good time with us without, he keeps us young. Thank you, Napolis. Keep the show young again.
Well said, Unc.
Oh, my goodness. Hey, so, by the way, KSL Sports, the KSL Sports Zone, and Beehive Meals, honoring people that impact youth sports in our communities. How do they do it? Nominate the youth sports volunteer that you know for the Beehive Meals Hero of the Week program. KSLSports.com/contests. It's that time of the year when, like, local baseball is firing up. This is when you're noticing other parents parenting your kids more because you're not at the practices. You're not at the games because somebody else stepped up and volunteered, and those are the people we like honoring. It's the Beehive Meals Hero of the Week program, KSLSports.com/contests. We read the winners off every Thursday, and then we hand out $250 from Beehive Meals as well. Well, we knew it was going to happen when he entered the transfer portal and said, "Don't talk to me. I've already got it figured out." Collin Chandler, former Farmington Phoenix, coming back home. I mean, he even said it in his little thing. He's like, "I'm going to go back home and figure it out."
There's no surprise.
Lots of names leaving BYU's program. Kostic was the latest, right? Who left today or entered the transfer portal today?
Kostic is in the transfer portal, and
Abdullah Ahmed, yeah.
Was there another one? Broke recently of a player coming in.
Hold on. Hit the breaking news sounder. If we can do it while it's still fresh, then we'll count it. From the ever-changing transfer portal in the basketball world, JJ, what do you have over there?
So Travis Branham, who works for 24/7 Sports out east, apparently covers Syracuse basketball, reports that Syracuse transfer Tyler Betsy has committed to BYU. He's 6'8", shot 40.7% from three this season. What does BYU need? Size and shooting. And they just added somebody who could help them with that, they hope.
You know
we
what?
will see.
Well, I'll tell you what. They had a guy who was a 6'8" wing this year, forward, right? That works in the Kevin Young style of athlete. Now, I don't think they're going to make no doubt about it. They're not going to be asking Tyler Betsy to be AJ DeBonsa, okay? What I'm saying is that we talked about how much size is going to be at a premium for BYU and for any college basketball team. But, I mean, that was so blatantly obvious that was the thing that they lacked. And when you can't recruit size, like you just feel – you get small guys and you feel like a small school. I don't care how much money you have on the roster. It just feels like if you can't recruit those guys who are 6'11" and 7 feet or a 6'8" wing, then it's going to be tough. Did you see Jerry McNamara's press conferences? He cries it every second, and I love it. That guy's going to be awesome.
It's passion.
I know. All right, so there you go. There's the breaking news. Tyler Betsy,
6.7 points per game last year. You maybe are concerned about the point production, but he shot 40.7% from three.
He'll take it. Hey, if he's doing that out east,
former 4-star player. By
there you go. And look, you'd take a former 4-star guy who played at Syracuse already and he's shooting well over a high school kid who's a 4-star guy any day. I hope you do.
Yeah.
But Collin Chandler coming to BYU, what are they going to get out of him? What do they want to get out of Collin Chandler? Who would he be coming in and replacing? Is that kind of the
Richie type of player role? In my opinion, kind of does a little bit of everything. His stats last year they're not gonna wow you. He only averaged 9.7 points, 2.8 rebounds, 2.3 assists. Shot 43% from the field. You don't love that, but he did shoot 41% from three. And the prior year, in 30 games that he played, he shot 34% from three. So he's improving as a three-point shooter. What Collin does have is athleticism, and one of the dunks of the year came from Collin Chandler last year, if you remember earlier in the season. So he has that combination of athleticism. He's 6'5", 205, so good size, good bounce, does a lot of little things. I would compare him to a Richie Saunders, and I could see him playing that role as a guy that can help them from the three-point line. Is he what does he play? He's a shooting guard, in my opinion. I don't think he's a point guard. Maybe he could play that role if he was asked to. 2.3 assists. It's, college assists isn't that big of a deal because of the way the game's played. I think he adds athleticism. He adds a perimeter shooter, and he adds all those elements that BYU is looking for in the mold of a Richie Saunders, and I think he could develop into that type of a leader as well. So big of a roster turnover that they're going to have, and I think that college coaches have to be when a big replacement of roster would happen after a season. We used to look at that and go, "This program is a mess. They don't have their stuff together." But then you go back and you go, "Okay, remember when the 2021 portal opened up and NIL was live that year?" Yeah.
Prime put 74 new guys in Boulder, and he cut 66 other ones. And no one had ever seen something like that happen. Now, they had relative success for 5 minutes because that was their model, was we can just bring guys in who might be able to make a difference right now. And basketball is even more so. I think that this is like, you can see, listen, if every team in the NBA could go out and just change their entire lineup immediately, you would have a lot of teams who would be changing their lineup immediately right now. And you would see immediate results, either getting worse or getting better. But in this case, if you're BYU, I think that, because I saw a lot of people being like, "Oh man, people are bailing on Kevin Young, man. I think the honeymoon's over."
Jeez, that's premature.
I know, and I was like, I think that this
they did make the tournament,
but this is the standard for all of college basketball now. If you are not a guy who goes out and if you don't lose 4 guys who are either starters or big time rotation guys for you, and then switch them over with big-time other guys who are you just replace their name on the payroll. Now, I don't know how much money that Collin Chandler's getting. I don't know how much Rob Wright is asking for. I don't even know if they necessarily want Rob Wright back. I don't think they have a point guard right now, though.
So they would, but it's got to be at the right price. And I think it's been made very clear that BYU is doing something different this year where, look, they did the right thing. If you have a chance to bring in AJ DeBonsa, you open the vault. You go do whatever you have to do to get AJ DeBonsa. Once in a generation player, gonna be a 15-time NBA All-Star. You have to get him, and he did. And it didn't work out as far as NCAA tournament games won, but there's been so many other things where it paid off massively. And you're gonna have the number 1 pick in the NBA draft, before he puts on the hat of whatever team he picks, representing BYU at that draft. You can't – that's going to pay off immensely. But what BYU probably, I am assuming, learned this year is while you are tempted to go all in on some of these players, you need depth over that star player if you want to go on a deep run in the NCAA tournament. And I think that they're taking a different approach this year, and you're starting to see that depth being put together. You see somebody like Tyler Betsy that I mentioned, he only averages 6 points per game. Well, why do you want to bring him in? Well, he fills a role. He's 6'8", he stretches the floor, shoots 40% from three. He's going to play a role, and they didn't have anybody that could do that on that team. They thought they did not. So they are going to go out and find guys that fill a certain role and build a team based on those roles. They're still going to probably have one guy that's a star. Does Collin Chandler develop into that star? Maybe. I still think he's a Richie Saunders type star. I don't know if he's All-American star. I don't know if they even want to, if they're even looking for that kind of a guy at this point.
Yeah.
Bruce Branch might be, but I'm not sure Bruce Branch is a number 1. But remember, they do have Bruce Branch. They'll have Collin Chandler. That's a lot of talent. We'll see if they go out and get that number 1 guy or if they think one of those two are the number 1 guys. but they're starting to put the pieces together with the room they have now with all these guys leaving that didn't work out. All the names we've mentioned, are they going to miss any of them? It's harsh to say. But like JT, like Jonathan Tavernari comes on the show, this is pro basketball now.
Yeah.
This is a business. So we're talking business. This is not some kid that has got a scholarship and that needs the books and the tuition stuff. This is a business.
Yeah.
This is not amateur sports anymore at the highest level.
I do think it's interesting because the college game, it is pro sports. But again, the actual professional, the NBA, I think they look at this and they go, man, that would be something, right? Just every year we go, you guys are gone. Let's bring in these other dudes. We'll just pay them what they want. And so what I'm saying is it's even more of a Wild West.
Yes, it is.
Than we could have imagined.
There are no contracts, essentially.
But
I
you know
think
what?
there are, but there aren't.
If you've got a good GM of your program, and Kevin Young's brother, I think, does a pretty darn good job. I think that they all get together and they figure things out, and I think that they probably know what good basketball looks like, and they know what good recruits are going to look like. It's just about whether or not you can get that person in and have them gel with the team and figure things out in the locker room, and if they are the right price. All right, we'll take a break. We have Sucks to Be You next. People from over the weekend who we noticed did not have the best of weekends. So stay here, 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone.
Derek Overstreet, founder of the New Millennium Group. We're a financial planning firm. We have advisors standing by right now to take your call. 888-999-6370. The reason you're going to want to call is we're going to help you retire 3 to 5 years before you thought possible. The way we do this is by putting together a step-by-step plan. So if you're one of those people listening and you'd like a plan in writing, give us a call at 888-999-6370. That's 888-999-6370, or go to utahsfinancialplanner.com.
Basking in the sports misfortune of others to help make you feel just a little bit better about yourself. As JJ and Alex present,
yes, we got beat. We got beat badly.
It Sucks to Be You.
Welcome back, everybody. JJ and Alex, 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone. I always love that we give stuff away during Sucks to Be You. When we do this on a Monday, I think it's appropriate. People who are, maybe you had a little bit of a sucky weekend. There were parts of it that sucked for me, but that's part of life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
How about we sweeten the pot a little bit? If you were listening to DJ and PK this morning, they gave out the Chevy Strong Play of the Weekend, as they always do. If you can recall what that play of the weekend was, and boy, even if you just took a quick guess, you could probably get it. And you give us a call right now, call in number 12, 801-575-ZONE. Get a little gift card from Amazon. So there you go, courtesy of your Rocky Mountain Chevy dealers. Sucks to be you. Now, this is a little bit of a fake sucks to be you, but that missed putt by Scotty on 17, the Scotty Scheffler miss at 17, my son and I stood up. It was like, boom, it was in. In our minds, I was like, perfect line. And it was the camera angle, it was all the stuff.
That's a tough putt, by the way. That got a lot of other guys.
Oh, my goodness. Scotty is the most clutch dude in this tour. There's the reason he's the number one in the world still, right? He is ice freaking cold. He did not like he said he didn't like he did not like the conditions on Friday. He felt like the course gamed up the course too soft, and then it was whiplash on the Saturday to read the greens and stuff. But that's what Augusta does. They can dial it up how they want. And as he put it, he's like, we play an outdoor sport. We're subject to nature. However, they actually can dial it up the way that they want to. They can make the greens softer or harder depending on how they do it. The pin placement, it's always pretty fun to watch. But it doesn't really suck to be Scotty Scheffler. But that missed putt right there, we were one inch away, a half an inch away from an awesome playoff between Scotty Scheffler and freaking Rory. How awesome would that be? Sucks to be Sergio Garcia. The real kind of sucks.
Oh, yeah.
So he had one of the bigger meltdowns I've ever seen at any PGA event, and he did it at freaking Augusta National. And he's a former champion. They don't care if you're a former champion. If you don't represent what Augusta National is, he whacked his driver against the ground 3 times, and then he smashed the head of it Broke the shaft against, I think, like the divot replacement, box that was next to it, or the T, I don't know what it was. But he crushed it on there, and then after he got chided because they came up to him. They had some Augusta officials come up to him, and they're like, what did they say to you after the thing? He's like, next question. I think he got in trouble, which I love. I love that you get called into the office. If there's going to be a place they're going to call you into the office, and that it'll smell like an old middle school office, it'd be Augusta.
Yeah. You know what's funny is Garcia got caught doing that, but there was another guy from Scotland that did something at the Masters too, Robert McIntyre, who also could face disciplinary action at the Masters after he was caught making a middle finger gesture while making a quadruple bogey on the 15th hole on Thursday. That went under the radar. I didn't know that.
Did he flip the ball off?
He flipped off the hole.
See, that's
he flipped off the 15th green.
If he would have looked back at a patron and flipped them off,
that'd be different.
I'd be like, eh.
He flipped off the green. He put it in the water. He'd had enough. Quadruple bogey.
I just wish John Daly would have won the Masters so we could see him back every freaking year.
Can you imagine him at the dinner?
He'd kick his shoes off and he'd be barefoot.
You going to finish that?
What are you doing, Tiger? Come on, man. You can't just do the grilled chicken. You can't just do that. People were making fun of the menus over the years.
Yeah.
Tiger's first champion menu, of course, he was only like 20.
Yeah.
Was a total kid meal. It was
Shocker.
like milkshakes, hamburgers for the appetizers. And then it was like, grilled chicken. I like grilled chicken.
He was literally a kid when he won the Masters.
I know. Real quickly, also sucks to be the LA Lakers who are going into the playoffs, limping into the playoffs. They're gonna reevaluate the old boo-hoo.
Sorry.
I know. They'll reevaluate the hammy.
Boy, the Lakers just can't catch a break. I feel so bad for the Lakers.
They're going to get eliminated pretty quickly. I do feel bad for Tyrese Halliburton, who's going through a pretty bad bout with the shingles.
Oh, shingles are no joke.
I thought it was a 60-plus situation. Go out and get your vaccination done, kids. Tyrese Halliburton is like his recovery from his Achilles is slowed down because of the shingles.
Oh, my gosh.
I know.
That's brutal.
He'll be back next season, though. He'll be fine. All right. We will come back. Cole Bagley. He's got some splaining to do. I mean, he's the only person we could yell at about this, right? The Mammoth struggling over the last 2 games and making it just an absolute tight race for that wild card 1 or 2 spot. We know they're in the playoffs. How big of a deal would it be to get that WC1? We'll come back. More to go. 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone.
Make game day yours. Tickets, food and drinks, stats, and streaming. Everything you need is in the Utah Mammoth app. Download today and make game night easy. Download on both Android and iPhone. Tusk Top